You can see where our personalities, right? We're a balance for each other. It'll be perfect.
Hey guys, welcome to the Weaker Vessel's Kitchen. This is our reboot. My name is Erica Van Brimmer, the Weaker Vessel, and this is my other Weaker Vessel,
Amy Brinsma.
And we're here to talk to you today about what in the world we're doing with this podcast.
So, if you remember, for all of you loyal listeners and followers, it was this time actually. Oh, was it a little bit later? It might have been. No, it's February, right?
Yep.
February, like an entire year ago, that we're like, let's try doing this. And we're like, okay. And then we did one. And then a lot of life happened. So here we are.
In the U.S.?
In the U.S. So we started it in Canada in Erica's living room then, or dining room.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're in her kitchen.
And now we're in my new kitchen. So our intention with this podcast is the same as when we were in Canada. We really want to encourage women to get back in their kitchens and to encourage them in their domesticity and to honestly just talk about things that women should be talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're excited to get started again, and we promise to be more consistent than twice a year moving forward.
It's true, yes.
So one of the things that we were both talking about was our heart for hospitality and, like you said, just like domesticity in general. So in Canada, I was introduced to Sabbath feasts, and they really are feasts when you come to the Van Brimmers household. How did you guys get started with that?
It started with, honestly, an itch we couldn't scratch. We felt that we wanted to be more Sabbatarian, and the ways that we had tried to practice it just left us wanting, and it just felt more like a chore than like a blessing. And then we heard about how the Wilson clan in Moscow, Idaho, does their Sabbath dinner, and we tried it, and it was a blessing. It felt like a breath of fresh air.
Oh, yeah.
Our week was planned around it. And it just it started with our family, our 3 kids, and Grant and I. And then slowly we started having more people in, and it became a tradition, a thing we do every week. And it really is something we look forward to.
Right. I think it's cool that you guys just bothered to try doing it when it was just your family, which is a good pilot way of doing it. If you're not interested or comfortable or whatever, you're familiarizing yourself with having people over. So we were introduced to it in their home, and we immediately loved it. We were new to, I don't know, Sabbathing. And me especially, more so than my husband. He was coming around to that whole concept and idea. And my husband is very, what's the word? Hospitable. And I, not that I'm not, but it took him kind of pulling me in that direction. Yes, he's more more comfortable with it than I was. So when Grant and Erica left Canada, we had fallen in love with Sabbath. And we were like, you know what, let's do this. Let's do it in our home. And
we had grown a little following, if you could say that, right? Yeah,
people were consistently coming, not just for the meals. Erica is a very competent and wonderful cook and baker. So yes, people came to be fed, but the fellowship that happens is something different. There's just something about joining around a meal and just hearing your kids get silly and get excited for, oh, is it Sabbath? Is it Sabbath? Are people coming over? Do we get to go over? And we loved that joy of time together and the conversation. Sometimes it was ridiculous and you would talk about whatever. And it gets as deep as really digging into life. So we wanted to do that too.
And people were lining up for your Sabbath as well.
Right, which is so weird because I am not overly confident in my kitchen. It's getting better. So that's kind of, I guess, why we want to talk about someone who's been doing it for a while, because you started doing Sabbath, several years ago now, right?
3 years ago, I think.
And we just started doing it last year. So tips, tricks, suggestions, I guess, is kind of what we were hoping to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah. The first tip I have is just do it.
That is a good one. Just do it.
Like, it'll never be perfect, and if you do it long enough, something terrible will go wrong.
Yeah. Always. Oh, yeah. You don't have enough food, or your oven forgot to get turned on.
We lost power one time, and I was like, oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Whoops. So yeah, you learn to roll with those things.
And really, it makes for a really fun evening when something does go wrong.
It's true.
Everyone just kind of rallies, and it's like a joke, and it's...
And that's the thing, and half the time, the people that are there, if you are stressed out as hostess, well, they might be able to observe it, but they're just thankful to be there. And I think that was one of the biggest lessons for me, being very intimidated to have people into my space. People were just like, thank you so much, because people are desperate for real, true fellowship. And I think that that's something that I would encourage anyone who has considered doing it. For the fellowship, if nothing else, make mac and cheese if you have to, like out of a box if you have to. It doesn't have to be elaborate or ornate, but it's really fun to dress
We've
a
done
table.
Sausage and mac and cheese before, and it was a hit.
Yeah, it's great.
People
it's
loved
not
it.
necessarily about the food, but it is about the food.
And as a woman, we love to make things beautiful, right? Like we are the glory of the man. We make things beautiful.
Right.
And one of the most interesting things as a mother, excuse me, was to see my daughters love setting a table.
Yes,
to
that's
love
so true.
beautifying a table, to love finding napkins and plates. And, and we go to thrift stores and they're looking for fun dishes. And
that's so true.
It really is. It doesn't need to be expensive if you go thrifting or the Dollar Tree, but it's fun to think about how to make it grander.
And I think that is another piece to talk about. It doesn't have to be expensive.
No.
It doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be, it can be, or you can graduate into that. And that was something when I had started doing it, people would ask about my dishes or whatever. And a lot of times it's from the dollar store or gifted to you or whatever. And you can be as creative or whatever as you'd like.
Right.
So don't, as someone who was literally terrified, and I did cry. I have cried in the beginning. I don't know if I can have these people over, and don't and this was a reminder that you gave me even when you were still in Canada. Just be prepared that at some point something's going to get stained, or something might get broken, or like you said, the meal might not turn out. And at the end of the day, nobody cares.
No one cares.
Nobody cares. The blessing still happens. The blessing as the hostess, because that was something else I think we were talking about. And one of the biggest lessons I learned once I started doing it was your whole week starts to be wrap around preparing for Sabbath, which ultimately I think is what we should be doing anyway.
Yes, our week revolves around the Lord's Day.
Right. So be preparing for that, whether it's making sure that your laundry is done before people come over, so when everyone leaves, you can shove your stuff back in the washing machine, or that the dishes are all done, so you can fill that
An empty
in.
Dishwasher, really.
Right. It's just all of those little things, or like the kids having their clothes ready for Sunday morning, so when they go to bed super late on Saturday, you're not scrambling. Just all of these little practical planful. Is that a word? Planning for things was just. It created a life of intention.
Yeah, which is what we all really want, truthfully.
Right.
You said we do it on Saturday. You just kind of mentioned that.
Sorry,
We do ours on Saturday night. That was actually another Wilson tip.
Right.
We do ours the night before Sunday when we go to church, because it's like our kickoff to the Lord's Day. And it really is the perfect way to like enjoy and kind of go into worship before God.
Right, your heart is really prepared.
Yes, and you're full of fellowship and love for your brother, and it honestly does kind of prevent going before God with grudges in your heart.
That's
or
so true.
Things like that. So we really enjoyed doing that. You could do it on a Sunday. Sure, you could do it Sunday night. That's fine.
Yeah, that's true.
I like preparing my meal, like, on the Saturday, and then Sunday I can rest and I make leftovers,
Yes,
so,
that's a huge one. That is another piece, because then you can just rest into Sunday.
Yeah.
And it's a great opportunity for your whole family. You're like the kids, so there's catechism questions, we sing the doxology. My husband did a liturgy. I know that Grant does a liturgy as well. And that was cool too, because it prepares his heart, or your husband's heart, or your children's heart in different ways than our hearts are being prepared.
Yes.
Either being in the Word or looking for scripture that you want to go over. And all of those, I think it was the biggest blessing of my life last year, especially in a year that community and fellowship was rare for some people and so coveted by others. It was just such a gift to have that opportunity to get together. So
totally. Yeah. So if you're interested in our liturgy or in some, some of the questions the kids are asked and answer, just, ask us, send us a message, and we'll be happy to give you what we have. Any other tips or tricks that would be like a really great... Kitchen tips.
Oh, kitchen tips. I think that's a stay tuned for. But I would say just smile about it. Like, just have a good, like, you know what? So what?
Yeah.
If this goes wrong, it's okay. Be as prepared as you can, but just be joyful. Put a song on, clean your kitchen, cook some things, and just like let God work in your heart as you're working out those things. But we will definitely be talking about that more in the future.
Recipes and whatnot.
Recipes especially, because that is a big one. Like, how do you feed? Because sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 25. Like, it can grow. And what if half of your guests are children? That's a totally different thing.
Kids are hard to feed sometimes.
They are hard to feed. Or how do you set a table when it's just kids? Can you be creative in that way? So I think that in the future we are going to talk about that with holidays coming or Sabbath specific. We, like, half of the kids, which is coming up in your house, I know that a Sabbath is coming.
16 kids.
Where it's a lot of kids. That's the most I ever had at my house.
16.
And so we'll talk about that, I think, in the future. But
we hope we've whetted your appetite a little bit to what we're trying to do around here. Even if you're a little bit scared, stay tuned. We'll
I know all about that.
Fears.
Yeah, that's right. And you'll be blessed for sure.
Yeah, that's our goal. If you guys have any tips or tricks or things you think we should talk about, let us know.
We'd love to hear from you.
And until next time, see ya.
We're gonna have to come up with the word.
I know. I was like, bye.